What's up, everyone? As you can see, we have a special guest for Mental Monday. I don't bring guests on Mental Monday very often, but I was talking to Mr. Gene Zannetti of Wrestling Mindset, and we figured we'd put something together for this Monday. Gene, how you doing?
Great, Ben. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So you and I were just kind of chatting the other day, and you mentioned that this would be fun to do, and I agree. And I always like talking to you guys about the Wrestling Mindset stuff. I think the biggest thing right now, and I don't know if you want to talk about Iowa, Penn State at all, but we want to talk about big end of the season stuff, which is obviously coming up for all high school kids all across the country. That's always probably I got to assume that's one of the most asked thing about Wrestling Mindset, correct?
That's right. How do we rise to the occasion in the postseason? Yeah. And we're excited about that Iowa Penn State match. It was awesome. A lot of great scrapping. Both of our Wrestling Mindset guys came up big. Mike Kemmerer and Cassiope.
Oh, Big Tone is a Wrestling Mindset guy?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I couldn't believe Big Tone's flexibility and balance. And Kemmerer came up huge. And so, I'm an idiot. I'm just going to be straight up. I went to do my Wrestling Mindset, my Mental Monday, live on Instagram, and you literally texted me when I went live. I'm like, oh, my God, we're doing one today with Wrestling Mindset. But I was literally going to bring up Iowa, Penn State, and I thought we had some great performances. Kemmerer was the one I brought up on the plus side. And then obviously Mark Hall, I don't think he rose to the occasion. And then Austin DeSanto, another guy who kind of struggled with the pressure. So when you're and obviously those guys are like as high level gets. I mean, they're the best in the country. But when we're talking about just regular high school kids, what do you see? Where do you see their minds usually going when they start struggling with their performance in big matches?
Well, I guess number one, we start to look at the magnitude. We tell our athletes all the time, every match is important, but nothing special. Once you make it special, you're more likely to choke. I mean, there are maybe 1 in 20 guys, 1 in 30 guys that can make it into a big deal and they do well. That's not most people, and don't feel bad if it's not you, right? So don't make it special. Everything's important, nothing special. Also, they tend to start thinking more about the records, the rankings, the seedings, the predictions, the storyline, and what the implications are. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what I always talk about is stuff that doesn't matter. All of that stuff doesn't matter, right? The fact that 16,000 people are there doesn't matter. The fact that this is your state tournament and there's only one state tournament a year, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Really, those things have no impact on the outcome of the thing, and they have nothing to do with your performance. And so it's whether there's 16,000 people or whether it's a mat in a practice room somewhere, it should be the same thing. Although that's obviously easier said than done, correct?
Of course. Always easier said than done. But that's right. You just keep reminding yourself, it's just another day in the office. Do what you normally do. Be who you are. The mat dimensions remain the same. The time remains the same. The rules are the same. Just do what you do.
So what is, if you have to give kids 2 or 3 things, hey, this is what you do. You're going to state tournament. And, I know you guys usually work with kids for longer periods of time, but say, listen, some kid comes up to you. Hey, man, I got the state finals tomorrow. Give me 2 things. What would be the 2 things that you would give them? Just think about this. And you go first. I'll tell you what I usually say.
I'm starting to think. What that makes me think of right now is Karate Kid Part 3 with Daniel. Terry Silver's saying, "Quick Silver, a man can't stand, you can't fight." Right? Those kind of things goes through those 3 points. Yeah. But we have something like that. We have something like that. A postseason workshop we do with teams and with individuals. Just quick things we could give them right before these kind of situations. And number one is focus on what you could control. So effort, attitude, and aggressiveness. You can't control the outcome. Effort, attitude, and aggressiveness. Right? Your preparation's in the bank. Your lifestyle's in the bank. Hopefully you're working on that too.
Yes.
But right, it's effort, attitude, and aggressiveness. 2, do not overemphasize your feelings. Okay?
Hey, there we go. That's a good one. I like that.
And it's tough because what we tell our athletes is make yourself feel as good as you can right now. Do things to make yourself feel good. Back in college at Penn with Zeke Jones as our coach, he would always say to us, men, get that good feel. But he wasn't saying to overemphasize your feelings, right? Maybe you got to sleep last night. Maybe you didn't. Maybe your cut weight went well. Maybe it didn't. Are you going to shoot or not out there? On top, are you going to really look to turn the sky, or are you just going to hang on? On bottom, are you going to coast, or are you going to keep getting to your feet? So don't overemphasize your feelings. Your opponent is probably not at 100% too. So it doesn't matter what you're feeling. Just go out there and do what you got to do. Effort, attitude, aggressiveness.
Yes. Ooh, I love it. So I always, same thing. Talk about what you can control. And, I always go down to think literally about what you need to do, right? When you step on the mat, does it matter that your dad's in the stands. Does it matter there's someone? Does it matter that, hey, if you win this, your team wins? It doesn't matter, right? It's how do I get to my single leg? What do I need to do to win? How do I get off a bottom? Right? It's the literal execution of those processes that we need to think about. And obviously, while you're literally wrestling, you might not be thinking, but hey, you go out of bounds and the score is 3-2. Okay, when I go back to center, what is it that I need to execute on? And so, like, thinking about the literal execution of techniques that's big for me.
Exactly. What are you doing with your hands? Get to your tie up. Just improve your position right now.
Yeah,
that's it. That's big. Also,
yeah.
outside of practice, outside of competition, keep the mood light. Keep the mood fun. You know, I always use the cell phone.
That's a big one for me. Is that something you guys emphasize also? I mean, I always say I'm an obsessive type personality. So if I get something in my head and I start obsessing about it, it never really turns out all that well. So for me, I'm always keep it light, keep my mind off. But I know that's for me. So do you tell that to everybody?
Yes, we use the cell phone battery analogy because it makes a lot of sense. You only have so much battery life in your cell phone, okay? And once it's depleted, you need to recharge it. Well, it's the same thing with you. You only have so much physical, mental, and emotional energy, and once it's depleted, you got to recharge it, right? So the idea is what too many athletes are doing is we're putting so much pressure on ourselves. We're thinking about wrestling the whole week, especially right before the competition, that we're just burning out the cell phone battery life. It's like playing a game on your phone or opening YouTube. The battery life is just plummeting, and then when you step on the mat, guys wonder why sometimes in the first 30 seconds, the first flurry, they're shot.
Yeah.
They're 2-hour practice, but because the stress will take more energy out of you than a 2.5-hour practice.
Yeah, that's no joke. That the stress levels. That's a good example. You know what? I always bring that up, and I haven't really seen. Is there any research or any good books on that? Because I always feel like I only have so much mental energy, and if I expend it on things that aren't that important in my life, that's not where I need to be. I need to get in. Right now, obviously, I'm not training anymore. I need to get in my my office and focus on the really important business decisions I need to make, and then I can go to other relaxing things. But if I try to do things that are hard for me all day, then when I get in the office and try to make tough business decisions, my mind's like mush.
That's right. You know what it is? Throughout the year, you're putting it in the bank. All your training, all your preparation, your lifestyle, the extra workouts, you're putting it in the bank. So by the time you come down to that last week, you've earned the right to not have to think about wrestling. You've earned that right. You've put it in the bank. So now you want to watch comedies. You want to take your mind off of wrestling. Ideally, don't talk about wrestling at all in the house. We tell the parents of the athletes we work with and the coaches, don't bring up wrestling the week before those competitions.
Because the parents are the ones that can put the nerves on kids sometimes, right? That parents, like, especially when they see how much work their kid has done all year and how much sacrifice they've done, and that parent is thinking like, oh crap, if my son doesn't win this, they're gonna be heartbroken, and their anxiety almost exudes to the athletes.
Right, and that's exactly what my thesis showed. Actually, we
really.
Yeah, my research was on the relationship between perfectionism and anxiety in wrestlers. And we found, not surprisingly, that the more perfectionistic an athlete was, the more nervous they got, the worse they did in competition. Well, out of perfectionism was broken down into 6 subscales, 2 of which included parents, parental criticism and parental expectations. And we found that those were negatively related to performance. They were positively related to anxiety, negatively related to performance.
Wow,
so,
really?
Yeah.
Can I read your thesis somewhere?
yeah, I could send it to you. You
really?
Can post it up. You probably don't want to read. Just read the results because it's going to be boring. The research.
Well, I like that boring stuff. I mean, look, Jeff. I got a whole damn book of boring shit that I learned from. I mean, come on. That's what I'm here for. I mean, I would have guessed something like that, but when I say stuff, I always want research to back up what I'm saying, and boom, that's what you're saying.
That's it. And now the important thing to remember is that it's not necessarily the reality in this situation. It's the kid's perceived parental expectation.
Sure, absolutely, yes.
Perceived parental criticism. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's always bad, because sometimes a kid might say, oh, my parents have high expectations. They believe in me. But a lot of kids, it works the reverse way. It's just too much information. So we say, do not talk about wrestling the week of, the competition, the big competition. I don't like calling it big or small. It's just another day in the office.
Yeah.
Another thing to talk about is real quick, LeBron James
hold on. I want to get one question. I have one question there. Okay, so the question is, obviously high parental expectations will probably be good over the expanded lifetime, but what you're talking about is specifically for the performance in that competition, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It could hit each kid different.
Yes.
Right. So we build in part of that research into a wrestling mindset program. We have a parent mindset guide and also a coach's mindset guide. So we ask the kids yes, no questions. We could kind of see, is this too high of levels of perceived expectations or criticism? So that's all built into that. But again, each kid is a little bit different, and they might perceive it as helpful or harmful. Just like stress could be helpful or harmful depending on who you ask.
Sure.
Right? You might have an athlete that says, I'm nervous, I'm scared, I'm worried. You might have athlete B who feels the same exact physiological state.
Yeah,
but
they're
like, I'm motivated, I got the adrenaline going, I'm excited, I'm spirited, and all that.
Cool. Okay, sorry, a little LeBron James.
Yes, no, I was just going to say one of the things we bring up is not that we're basketball players here, but we do believe in studying the best people in the world, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So during social media, during the postseason, the playoffs, he goes on a social media blackout. A lot of people are aware of this, and that means he doesn't look at any of that. So when his coach, when an interviewer said to him, "Oh, your coach said this about you, your former coach," he said, "I don't know. I'm not on social media, and the people who know me best know how to get a hold of me." I really like that because during the postseason, who are wrestlers friends with? Other wrestlers around.
Yeah.
Everyone's posting pictures. Everyone's building up the postseason, and you don't need to see that at that moment. You don't need to know the rankings, the storyline, and what other people are saying. Shut it down. We saw bad performances of a lot of athletes in the last Olympics because too involved in social medias and pictures and all that kind of stuff. Leave that to the side. That's the spectators. You're a participant.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Hey, that was a lot of fun. I actually learned some stuff. I want to read your thesis, or at least the results of your thesis. And any last words for us?
Yeah, just keep it fun. Do what you normally do. Have fun. Focus on the things you could control. Effort, attitude, and aggressiveness. It's really that simple. If other things start coming in your mind, let it go and get right back to there.
Yeah. Okay, we appreciate it, Jeff. Oh my gosh, I called you your brother's name. We appreciate it, Gene. Have a great day. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks a lot, Ben. We'll see you.
See ya.